someone makes a comment to you about, oh, chiropractic doesn't work, or I tried it and it didn't work for me, you're going to look at them and you're going to say, well, you just never heard the real story and the whole story, because they didn't know what was in this book, okay? So here's my story with headaches. I was a chronic headache sufferer for many years, and we figured it out on our own. No one else really kind of coached me through this, just put two and two together. So at my last class at Natural Grocery, I told people, pick doctors that you admire, pick doctors that walk the walk, talk the talk, and if you can't find the right doctors, just fire them all and become your own doctor. And then you can start getting healthy, because you are your own best doctor, because you're in charge of your health. Okay? So this is kind of I'll kind of swing on this way so I can see. This is my story. I had chronic headaches basically the whole time I lived in Iowa, which was for 5 years. Really nasty chronic headaches, driven by two things: stress from going through school and not sleeping enough and trying to, get A's, which don't matter after you get out of school. Nobody cares how many A's you got. We have this little joke in school: C's get degrees, A's ruin your life. Some people can... stress. Yeah. Okay, C's get degrees, and nobody ever asks you what your GPA was once you graduate. I had chronic sinus infections, nasty ones, 3 or 4 a year. The best thing that my mom probably did for me for my health was they wanted to remove my adenoids and my tonsils when I was younger. And she said no. And for me, I didn't understand it, because I just was tired of getting sinus infections. Had strep throat 5 or 6 times a year, every year. Was on antibiotics practically my whole life, on and off of antibiotics. I had excruciating, terrible seasonal allergies. That's a picture of a ragweed. You only know that if you're from the Midwest or East Coast, because we don't have ragweed here. We have other pollens. But that little bugger, that little plant right there used to destroy my life every August, September, and October. It's a nasty little bugger. And I then developed cluster headaches. So, 1 to 2 days a week, I would get this headache behind my eye. I still will get them if I get stressed out. There's many different types of headaches. Mine were seasonal allergies, sinus infections, and cluster headaches. So I have a very intimate relationship with headaches, and I know, man, they are awful. Okay? The hardest part about headaches is if you get them, you just figure out a way to live with them.
Just make them go away.
You just figure out a way to live with them, and you just put your head down and you plug away, and they sure do make you awfully irritable. I can't imagine, having headaches every day and trying to raise a 1.5-year-old and taking care of all the people that we serve here. I just can't imagine it, because, I just put my head down and plug away, and my wife would be like, gosh, how you doing? And I'd be like, fine. Because you can't explain a headache to someone who doesn't get them. Am I right? It's just, you just have to do your thing, and you just keep plugging along and go through it.
There's different headaches and different extreme disease.
Totally.
Yeah, so what might be bad to you might not be bad for them.
And your body has a funny way of managing and dealing with pain. And you just kind of get used to it, and it becomes the norm. Right? And that's no way to live, obviously. My family, headaches run in my family. They run in my family. You see where I'm going with this? So I have beautiful memories of growing up with my grandfather. He's still alive and still, doing great. As many beautiful memories I have with him, hiking behind him, hunting in the woods, stepping footstep in footstep in the snow, trying to match his steps. I can see this. Like yesterday, he taught me how to fish. He taught me how to be a woodsman. He just taught me how to, I admired the heck out of him.
You never know when that might come in handy.
Exactly. And I also remember on occasion we'd be hunting or hiking all day, and a migraine would come on. And he'd sit down, he'd lay down under a tree. And if he had his Imitrex with him, he'd take it. And if he didn't, he'd lie down under the tree. Or he'd walk back to the car, and I knew Grandpa's got a headache coming on, and he might lay under that tree for 4 or 5 hours and try and take a nap. And we were like 12. My brothers, I'd be like 12 years old. He'd be lying there, going through his thing to try and get it to calm down. And he'd just say, we'd be hunting or something, and he'd just say, just be safe. Or we'd be fishing, and we'd just go hiking down the river and be by ourselves fishing, 10, 12 years old. And yeah, it was just you might say a different time, I don't know. So I also have these memories of my grandfather, just debilitating headaches that would knock him down for days sometimes, just, vomiting, migraines. So the reason I bring that up is because I have a problem with people not having the opportunity to maybe make that stuff go away and change. And I have a problem with, only throwing medications at a symptom, because it's not going to fix the dang thing. And I have a problem with doctors sometimes who don't present options to their patients to say, hey, look, yes, you could take this stuff. It's not going to fix the problem, and you should continue looking elsewhere. I have a problem with that.
They want your business.
I got a problem with that. Right? It'd be like if I took an X-ray of someone and their hip was completely broken, and I said, let's just keep adjusting you and working on you and see if it's not good. I'm not the guy for that. Right? I got a problem with that. And I never know, how much. My grandfather's been adjusted one time in his life, and the chiropractor hurt him. He said he's also had some back problems, has a couple of low back surgeries, and he hurt his back really bad when he was in his 20s. Jumped out of a tree, boom, jumping out of a tree into a river, and hit the bottom and compressed the discs in his low back at a young age. And I can't remember if it was his mom or his dad. Someone took him into a chiropractor, and the chiropractor adjusted him, and he said, I ain't never going back. Yeah. Never going back. I said, man,
He didn't want to go back because, did he say why?
Because it hurt. And the doctor didn't do a good job teaching him or explaining it to him. It hurt him.
Or letting you know that it's going to hurt when I do this.
I just wonder if my grandfather would give me the opportunity to work with him if we could turn this thing around. And I'll never know. I'm never going to know.
You're his grandson.
Maybe someday, but...
And this is what you do.
20% of the general population suffers from a headache every day. Can you imagine? Right? Yeah. Yeah, 20% of the people have a headache every, So if you're sitting in a room, there's a couple of us sitting here, 6 of us here. 2 of us in this room had a headache today. 3 of us had a headache. They both raised their hand. Probably because your boss probably gave you a headache. They're the 2. There you go. See? Okay? Every day. So it'll be the same thing tomorrow. That's really kind of disturbing. So I want to go through a couple of different things. I'm going to work from the bottom up. Most of us are full of toxins, and we're getting toxic symptoms, and we don't even know it. A lot of times headaches come from toxins. It's a symptom in the body releasing toxins. And a lot of times people are so toxic that they'll miss the fact that they're toxic because they'll just become used to dealing with the toxic symptom. Fatigue, chronic pain, headaches, inflammation, joint pain, ringing in the ears, sinus pressure, vision disturbances. These are, the list goes on. These are all symptoms of toxicity. So a lot of people have headaches directly from toxic stress in their body, and they don't know it, and they'll never know it because they'll never do anything to get rid of the toxins. The toxins are always going to be coming in, and they're always going to be filling up your plate. They're always going to be coming in. They're always going to be coming in. And if we're not pulling them out, the glass fills to the point where it overflows. And as soon as it overflows, that's when we have our health crisis, or the diagnosis, or the disease gets labeled. Okay? One of my patients just told me today, her mother got diagnosed with ALS. And she said, Doc, I don't know if you know this, but it's hereditary. And I said, baloney. Yeah. She goes, what do you mean? I said, that is not going to be you. You know why it's not going to be you? Because you're doing all of these things to make sure that it's not you. Am I right? I've known you for 4 years. I said, you're doing more. You're doing stuff to empty your glass. You're not going to have your glass fill up. And she was just like, I could see the tear rolling out of her eye. And she said, you're right. And I said, good, you're not going to get it. And she goes, I'm not. But when I was coming in here, I was feeling like I was afraid I was going to be in the same position. I said, no, not you. So posture is just a major key player for headaches. All right, if your head comes in front of your shoulders and stays in front of your shoulders, every inch that your head comes in front of your shoulders puts however many pounds of pressure your head weighs onto your neck. This is physics, not chiropractic. This is physics, laws of physics. So if my ear comes in front of my shoulder 1 inch, my head probably weighs 15 pounds. I have 15 times 1. I have 15 extra pounds of pressure on my neck.
You think your head would weigh that much?
Uh-huh.
Does the head weigh that much?
10 to 15 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay? It's about the amount of weight of a bowling ball. Okay? If my head comes in front of my body 2 or 3 inches, however, let's say this is 3, and I'm sitting on my computer doing computer work, and I hold it there for 5 hours or 2 hours or 3 hours, 15 times 3 is 45. So I have 45 extra pounds of strain and pressure on my neck.
No wonder you're going like this when you get on a computer.
That's going to cause a headache. Get it? It's going to cause a massive headache.
A half hour, 20 minutes, and already do like this and then go like this. Oh, that didn't feel so good.
Totally.
Go like this.
Now here's the next step. Every time your head comes in front of your body, it also strains your jaw. Okay? So that same amount of weight, sometimes people even believe more. So more than 45 pounds of strain is pulling on the jaw because these muscles right here connect right there where your temporal mandibular joint is.
That causes you TMJ.
Absolutely, thank you. It's one of the major reasons or causes of TMJ is your posture. It's not a problem with the joint, it's a problem with your posture.
And they used to say too that it was from our generation, a lot of forceps were used to pull us out.
Oh, absolutely.
And so
Absolutely, 100%.
cause of TMJ.
Yeah, you're super smart. You're gonna be my new best friend. Sleeping. So if you wake up with a headache, there's a couple of different things that can be going on, but I'll cover the basics with you. Your pillow stinks. Your mattress stinks. The way that you're sleeping stinks. Okay? You're grinding your teeth at night or clenching at night, which is a whole nother issue. Or you might have sleep apnea. I had a great conversation with my dentist about this. Sleep apnea can be a major cause of headaches when you wake up in the morning. All right?
Sleep apnea, that's when you don't get enough sleep or you're waking up all the time?
It's when your body's not going into deep enough sleep and your breathing is challenged and stressed throughout the night. So it could be you're holding your breath, it could be you're straining, but you're not entering into deep enough sleep, and it could be an oxygen issue where you're not breathing properly. It could be from snoring. There's a whole slew of things that this can be caused by. Okay? Sleeping is like a major issue for headaches. So if you wake up with a headache, and I was just telling someone this, they're like, oh doc, I'm really allergic to pine, and during pollen season I say, here's what I want you to do. Every single day I want you to go home, and at night I want you to stick your head under the faucet and wash your hair out. And the reason is because as you're outside walking around, all that pollen comes into your hair, and then you lay down on your pillow to go to sleep, and you're tossing and turning, and then you're breathing in all that pollen that's coming off your hair. So super simple. Someone who has really bad allergies, rinse your hair out at night before you go to bed. It's a game changer for a lot of people. Okay? Hormones, food, and of course subluxations. So hormones, I'm going to talk to you about this at the end. Food. We know, anyone who has migraines knows that food is a major trigger for migraines. Major trigger for migraines. Okay, what types of foods? Well, dairy can trigger migraines. Garlic can trigger migraines. Chocolate can trigger migraines.
I've heard coffee can.
Coffee can trigger migraines. The caffeine has this unique relationship with migraines. Okay, so there's all of these different types of food that can absolutely trigger migraines. If you're a migraine sufferer, you probably kept a log, a diary. And I always tell people, if they tell me that they have migraine headaches, the first thing I say is, are you sure that they're migraines? Because a lot of people just say they have migraines, but they're actually a cluster, a stress headache, or an allergy headache. Second thing is, if they truly are a migraine that gets an aura and it knocks you down, vomiting, you got to keep a log and you got to monitor what you're putting into your body. 9 times out of 10, we can start to find foods that they're sensitive to and triggering. Okay? Subluxations. So, subluxations, of course, are misalignments of the spine. Misalignments of the spine that stay in the spine for a long time create degeneration of the body in the spinal column, blocking and shutting down neurological flow in the body.
What is that? What does it cause from?
Misalignments of the bones. This is why people get adjusted. Misalignments in the bones start to cause imbalances with how the body moves, which start to shut down nerve flow, which cause degeneration. Okay, I've taken thousands of X-rays. I'm just going to pass this around. You guys can look at this. I've taken thousands of X-rays. Okay, this doctor right here, this is a compilation of all of his life's work. He took X-rays of cadavers, then he dissected the cadavers. He wanted to see the correlation between what the X-ray looks like and how the nervous system is being affected on an anatomical, neurological level. Make sense? I see X-rays every single day that look like some of these pictures. And the interesting thing is that he shows how the body's affected from these X-rays. Keep in mind, these people who have these X-rays, they come in here a lot of times and they go, "Doc, I don't have any pain. I do not have a problem with my spine." And I say, "You're absolutely wrong. Nobody's taught you how to take care of your spine." So you guys can flip through this book. I want to show you what you're looking at here. So here's an X-ray, and you can see that there are rugged. Now I know that my patients all know this because we've taken pictures of their body. This is a picture of the neck. You can see these rugged arthritic changes of the spine, and then you can come over here. Here's when he dissected this exact patient. And you can see that this is the spinal cord. That's how your brain and body are communicating. And you can see right there where all that degeneration is, that spinal cord is getting kinked. It's like a kink in the garden hose. This person might not have pain, but they might be a chronic migraine sufferer, or they might have thyroid conditions, or they might have some autoimmune disease. And here you can go through this book and you can see his work, and you can see the X-ray, and then you can see that there is a blockage where the cord comes down through the spine. Anytime bone touches spinal cord, we got issues.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah,
Okay.
I understand.
Dan's going to know because he's seen lots of pictures of X-rays. And you can go through this book and you can start to see. Now, this book gives proof. We don't need scientific proof to know that this works.
That doesn't know, that hasn't been involved with this.
Yes.
That was good that you explained that, because that, I look at that and then what you were telling me, then I can see.
This will make a lot of sense to you, Dan. So I don't want that to confuse you, but I pull that book out, at least once a month, and I look at it to just remind me that we got a lot of work to do.
Whenever I've ever seen an X-ray, did you want to look at it some more?
Yeah, I get it.
Get it. Okay.
Yeah, I've experienced it.
Everybody watch this. Okay. This is an X-ray. Have you guys seen this, my team? This is an X-ray, okay? What they did is they time-lapsed an aging patient that is not taking care of their spine. Okay? Everyone understand what they did? Watch what happens. I'll explain this to you after you've seen it.
From how old to how old?
Oh, about early 20s till, I'm not sure what the age range here is. I'd say 60s, maybe later. So they took thousands, maybe not thousands, hundreds of X-rays, and they put them all together so that you can see exactly what happens inside the body.
That's amazing.
Okay? I'm guessing 60, 70, or 80 years old right here. So let me explain this to you as it's going so that you can understand what's going on. So here's a nice normal curve. This person is not maintaining their curve, which is creating stress on their system. When we lose the curve in our spine, we're transferring the weight from the back of the spine to the front, which is compressing the discs. When the discs get compressed, the bones start changing shape. This is someone with advanced subluxations. Now the body is starting to change the shape of the bones because the head is pushing down, buckling the curve backward. As the bones continue to change and erode, so do the discs, so do the nerves that exit the spine. Then it becomes third, fourth level advanced degeneration where the bones start fusing together. Here's what you need to understand. Inside of that is the spinal cord giving you life. This is the major cause of headaches, by the way. Giving you life. So in that book, we can see what someone with a straight spine looks like and how it affects their spinal column. When I take a picture of someone, they have a straight spine, we have a time frame that we got to make this curve come back. Because if we don't, then we start degenerating and breaking down. And this is why we must take care of kids. Okay? This is like if we took someone who never brushed their teeth and did this exact same thing, you'd all be going, ugh. The same thing's happening in the spine. And the challenging, upsetting thing is that this person comes in to the office, or this person never gets an opportunity to come into the office anywhere throughout care because they're not given the opportunity to learn about chiropractic.
So that's why some people, most elderly people, get this hunching thing going.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So this poor person's body is shutting down. And I see pictures like this. Right, Deanna? Deanna looks at all my x-rays with me now. She sees this stuff every day. And, as we review this and I teach her this, it's like, I know, Deanna, you're in there when you see the x-ray, and I know what's going through your head now that you understand this. You're just going, oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay. I think it's criminal for someone to suffer from headaches and never have their nervous system checked. It's just not fair. It gets me out of bed in the morning. It's just not fair. Okay? And I always tell people, if you know someone who is getting headaches, you got to give them the chance to learn about this. And if they don't want to, you got to drag them here and be like, they know that they don't know what's in that book, and I know that they don't know this. And when people come into my office, here's a cross section of the spinal cord. Okay, and you guys can see. Oh, my pointer doesn't work on here, obviously. You can see that right here, these are the spinal nerves that come out. They took out the bones. So this is the spinal cord, and that's the brain. And there's a bone here, your C1, the top bone in the neck. And there's your second bone in the neck, and your third bone in the neck. And they took the bones out so that you can see those nerves that come out where the bones are.
So that's a real picture?
This is a real picture of a real spinal cord. Boy, you can't see that there's normally a bone here, and there's normally a bone here, and there's normally a bone here. They took the... I'm looking for my spine. Could you get the spine, please, Alyssa? Here?
Wait, yeah, that one.
That's the brain.
That's what I thought.
That's the base of the brain. That's the casing. It's called dura that covers the brain. It's a very dense material, like a ligament almost, kind of. It's a very dense material. So what you can't see is you can't see the bone because they took the bone out. But I want you to understand. Thank you. You're a dream. So what they did is this is that right there. And they cut it and took the bones out. So you can see these nerves, these yellow nerves. You can see they're white here. And those nerves go to give life to your body. They give life to everything.
Then they cause all kinds of...
And I show you that second because that person right there on that x-ray, all those nerves are completely shut down.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it, I know it.
How do they...
And I know it because we have science to prove it.
So how do they manage to exist? Still.
Because the human body is the most resilient thing on planet Earth.
I know, it's so delicate too.
Absolutely.
You know?
And that's why so many people are, that's why our health is...
It's so bad.
Yeah, you guys get it. That's your lifeline right there. Okay? So JAMA is the Journal of American Medical Association. It's a very well-known published journal. And they say regular aspirin use has been shown to double the risk of age-related macular degeneration, in the eyes, which is the leading cause of blindness in senior citizens. It's also linked to liver failure, stomach ulcers, and kidney disease.
So why do they tell you to always have some aspirin on hand just in case you have a heart attack?
Thank you. you finish my sentences for me. Thank you. Okay.
Sorry.
Anybody ever heard of someone who takes baby aspirin every day?
Yeah, I know a few people.
The worst thing you can do for your health. Now, they're actually, without going too far down the rabbit hole, they mass produced aspirin for years, and they had this massive stockpile of aspirin. Massive.
So they just want to farm it out to everybody.
And they had all this baby aspirin of this micro doses of aspirin that was just sitting around. So they said, take it as a preventative measure if you have heart disease. And that's why so many senior citizens are on baby aspirin. So if you take a whole bottle of aspirin and swallow it, what's going to happen?
You're going to get stomach overdose.
You're going to die.
Your ears are going to start ringing.
You're going to die. If you take a baby aspirin a day for 30 years, what's that going to do to your body? Slowly.
Kill you.
It's going to slowly kill you.
That's as bad as getting all those shots.
Okay, so the medical association knows this, yet they still prescribe it like it's candy to people or tell them to do it. Because you can buy it over the counter does not mean it's safe. And the medical association tells you that it's not safe, yet people just go and they live on this stuff. Okay?
But if you take an aspirin, it doesn't feel like it's safe. It doesn't taste
Not to
good.
you, but to many people, it's like second nature. It's
The
just
only
how they
time
exist.
I ever take
Right, Dan?
aspirin is if I absolutely have to, if I'm at work.
Uh-huh.
If I am at work and because I drive, I have to be paying attention to what's
You're
going on
correct.
out there.
You're correct. I like to bring this to life, okay? I had someone this week tell me that she got a headache, and I said, okay, what's going on? She said, I forgot to take my medicine. I said, interesting. I said, help me, let's work through this. Not because I want you to think that it's bad, just let's have an educated conversation. So you forgot to take your headache, or your medicine, so you got a headache. Am I hearing you correctly? She said, yes. I said, okay. So does it sound to you like it sounds to me, which is that the medicine is covering up the headache? So if you forgot to take the medicine and the headache showed back up, she said, I think so. I said, okay. So you're covering up your headache, and your headache is an alarm system. And if you ignore the fire alarm, what's going to happen to your building if there's a fire in the basement? It's going to burn to the ground.
Yeah.
I said, so do you understand? That's how I think about health. And she was just like floored. I said, I'm not that you're a bad person. I just said, we need to have these conversations to work through these conversations.
In
Okay?
school, from the time we're this big.
Yes. Correct. Okay, so I said it was like a light bulb went off. And that's why I tell people, you don't get headaches because you didn't take your medicine. You get headaches because they're there and the medicine covers them up. All right, I want to know how to fix things, not cover things up.
Well, and I want to know how I'm feeling if I've got a headache.
You're right. It's a system in your body that's telling you there's something going on. Now, here's my analogy. So if I'm a great juggler, I had a movie I was going to show you, but let's get to it. If I'm a great juggler and I'm juggling 6 or 8 balls, and you guys all have other balls, and I say, throw one in, and you throw one in, and I get it. Every time I move, I'm not just standing in place doing the exact same thing. I'm like, I'm catching, like one gets out of track, and then so I'm always correcting and adjusting, right? That's what's going on inside of your body. Every time I catch a ball and I throw it up, I'm creating balance. My body's constantly changing, creating balance. That's what's going on inside of your body, all right? And if I say, Dan, throw one in, and you throw one in, and whoa, and I kind of correct myself, but I keep going. I'm still in balance. I'm still in a homeostatic state, which is where your body needs to be, okay? And then I say, Cindy, throw one in, and now I'm up to 7, and now you throw in, and now I'm up to 8, and I'm juggling 8 balls at one time. And I kind of look like I know what I'm doing, and I keep correcting, but I keep going, and I'm still rocking and rolling. That's what's going on inside a healthy person's body. And Alyssa's sitting back there, and she throws another one in. And at that moment, it's a little bit off, and I miss it. What's going to happen? I'm not only going to miss that ball, but I'm going to
Miss 2 or 3 or half a dozen.
then all of a sudden, they're all going to fall, and I'm going to be done.
Then you have to start over from scratch.
That's what happens inside your body. We call it allostatic load. And your allostatic load, Dan, is different than mine. And Thea, yours is different than Dan's. And Cindy's is different than Dee's. And Alyssa's is different than everyone else's. And that's why you look at me sometimes and you go, why do I get these nasty headaches? And why do I get diagnosed with Crohn's disease when this guy over here, or my brother, he eats worse than I do. He doesn't take care of himself, and he smokes cigs and he drinks. And he's always, I say, his body's still juggling things. Your body allostatic load is different than his body allostatic load. And someone threw a ball in to yours and you fell out of balance, and that's when you get sick. You guys understand that? Everyone's allostatic load is different because we all have a different environment that we're living in. And when those balls start falling and you reach your limit, that's when people get sick. That's when they have their nervous breakdown. That's when they get diagnosed with something like cancer. That's when they have their crisis, their healing crisis. All right? And the subluxation, the nerve interference, is one of those mechanisms that we do to decrease stressors. Because you have environmental stressors, you have job stressors, you have relationship stressors, you have emotional stressors, you have toxic stressors. You have so many stressors coming into your life, and hopefully, someone's running around over there. Hopefully, your body is juggling all those things. Right? And you get subluxations and you don't do anything about it, and it's one more link that's going to throw your body off balance.
So you end up in bed for 6 months, sick.
And when your body has more stress than ease, your body produces something called cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And when your body produces stress hormone, it has a systemic effect, and other hormones in your body have to change. So when you have more stress hormone, you have less feel-good hormones, like dopamine and serotonin. When you have more dopamine and serotonin, you have less stress hormones. You can't have both high. So if you change one hormone in your body, like a stress hormone, it changes all the other hormones. And it's for that reason that people who are stressed out, they're constantly in a state of anxiety. They're grumpy. They're mean. They have low dopamine. They have low serotonin. They're cranky to be around. They're miserable people because they have low happy hormones and high stress hormones. And you multiply that by 30 or 40 years, and their body's completely out of balance and they're not able to juggle. And that's why we have patients who come in that are not in pain. And if you ask them, why are you guys still getting adjusted? They're getting adjusted. They'll answer. They'll say, I don't know why, but when I get adjusted, I feel better.
Yeah.
And when I feel better, I want to keep feeling better. And they can't quite grasp it. But the reason is because when they get adjusted, it takes stress off of the nervous system, like in that book. It takes stress off the cord, stress off those nerves. It lowers the stress hormone and it raises the dopamine, serotonin, the feel-good hormones. And that's why when people get off the table, they just look at you and they go, I feel so incredible right now. And I don't know what you just did to me, but I can't tell you. I just feel good.
Lightheaded sometimes too.
There are other hormones that are released that sometimes give you the euphoric feeling.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah. I've experienced that.
Do you want to share your story real quick?
You can share. Yeah.
No, you share it. I don't want to mess it up. Just really quickly. Just really quick.
Well,
Because I don't even know that my team all knows this.
yeah, the biggest reason that I came in was because of headaches. And I would take migraine pills 4 or 5 times a week.
Mm.
So on some kind of medication, pretty steady, just to function. And it would, of course, make me sick to my stomach then. It was just this vicious circle.
Yeah.
And you finally, I feel a little bit better, and then the next headache comes on. And so, highly medicated just to survive each day.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty grumpy at work. Pretty painful.
Yeah.
And it took us a while to push through that, but
It sure did.
I've not taken any of that medication anymore. And occasionally when that headache does come on, now it's gone within an hour or two.
Yeah.
It's not this long-lasting process. So life-changing, and you learn to live with it, and so you don't even know how bad you feel until you finally are away from it.
Or you snap somebody's head off and then you go, oh.
Yeah.
Then you might have a light bulb moment.
It's the opportunity. Sometimes people wake up and they say, you know what, there's got to be a solution to this. And sometimes people never wake up and feel that way. And I think it's
Like
amazing you
feeling
found
bad.
you found
I think
us.
some people like feeling bad.
Sometimes they just don't know.
Yes.
No.
You don't know what you don't know.
People don't know about chiropractic and what it can do for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, thanks for coming.
Thank you.